Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and good day everyone. Thank you for attending these sessions. My name is Asma-Qamaliah bin Abdul-Hamid, and today I will share one of my study together with my colleagues, Professor Technologies, Dr. Muhammad Helmi bin Ali. And this research titled Exploration of Supply Chain Uncertainty, a 3 decades investigations. And for your information, this research has been published on 2023 in Sustainability MDPI. Alright, so basically this is the content for our discussions today. Alright, so over the past 3 decades, we can see that the global supply chain have faced the increasing disruptions. We can see from the SARS, from the H1N1 to the Ebola, and most recently we have faced the COVID-19, right? So the pandemic, however, was unprecedented in its speeds and the global reach. We can see that we have been exposed to the structural weakness in supply chain system that were previously believed to be robust, and this has raised an important questions about have we truly learned enough from the 30 years of research on supply chain uncertainty. So from that, we can see that the business have adopted the lean, agile, as well as the resilient framework to manage the uncertainty. And yet, during the COVID-19, we can see that there are a lot of shock things that has been happening, namely the labors, the supply, the logistic, and the demand. And this event has revealed the systemic vulnerability, and therefore this research want to ask what has the 3 decades of research has taught us, and why were the existing strategies are still insufficient. So to answer that questions, this study aims to examine the evolutions of supply chain uncertainty research. Second, to identify the dominant themes and the intellectual structures. The third, to map out the trend by using the bibliometric analysis. And finally, to propose a directions for our future research. So to achieve the objective, this study adopted a rigorous bibliometric approaches guided by the PRISMA 2020, and we have used the Web of Science WOS by using the specific key terms, namely supply chain and uncertain. And after we go through the systemic screening, finally we have obtained 884 peer-reviewed journal article that spanning through 1993 up until 2020. And for the records, the initial records we have found actually is a 10,341 article document. However, 9,415 document has been excluded during the title and abstract screening. And after we have removing the duplicates and irrelevant records, the final data set that I mentioned just now, 884 article, has been included. And next, we have used the Microsoft Excel in order for us to perform the performance analysis and those viewer for science mapping. So from the result, we can see that there are a growth number of articles until 2040, followed by the rapid accelerations. And the result also shows that after the COVID-19, the publication number are surged dramatically. And this reflects how uncertainty has become the central to supply chain discourse. So as I mentioned, 884 articles has been published across 179 journals by 2,335 authors, and the average citations for the article is 32.2. And we also can see that United States has been the dominates contributions, and for the result also we can see that the leading journals, including the Supply Chain Management and International Journal, IJOPM, International Journal of Operation and Production Management, and IJLM, the International Journal of Logistic Management. So we also have conducted multiple bibliometric techniques such as the citation and co-citation analysis, bibliographic coupling, co-word analysis, co-authorship analysis, and from this analysis it allowed us to uncover the intellectual structure of the field. For more information, you guys can read through the full article as I have presented here. So our analysis also has identified 4 dominant clusters, and the first one is the overall impact of uncertainty. The second one is the demand uncertainty. The third one is the challenges uncertainty. The fourth one is the uncertain strategy, and this cluster represent how the field conceptualize uncertainty. And from the first cluster, we have examined how uncertainty affects the firm performance, competitive advantage, governance, collaborations, and it also highlight the dynamic capabilities and digital transformations as mitigation strategies. While for the second cluster, the demand uncertainty are focused on volatility, coordination failure, as well as the decision-making challenges. The flexibility and data-driven optimizations are also being emphasized in this second cluster. For the third cluster, the challenges uncertainty has addressed the sustainability, blockchain, big data adoptions, and the emerging technological risks. And the final cluster, which is the uncertain strategy, has highlighted the agility, adaptive capabilities, and the organizational culture. However, the integration across these dimensions are still remain fragmented, and there is no unified framework combining the resilience, agility, sustainability, and the digital transformations. So this study has contributed by providing a systematic 3 decades review, reducing subjectivity through bibliometrics, mapping, identifying fragmentations in strategic integrations, as well as highlighting the absence of the holistic frameworks. So in this study, we also recommend that we should move beyond the conceptual discussion by strengthening the framework like the SCORE, SCOR. We also recommend that the practitioner should try to integrating the digitalizations with the resilience and the sustainability, and the future research also should focus on actionable and the system level model. So overall, in conclusion, this study just want to highlight that although the research on supply chain uncertainty has expanded significantly, especially after COVID-19, a strategic integrations are still remain incomplete. So we want to highlight and focus and call for a holistic technology enabled framework that can prepare the supply chain for the future global crisis. So with that conclusion, I end my presentations. Thank you everyone.